Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me make sure I can everything set up and good to go. Give me just a second here. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Oh yeah. That off. Right here. Hold on. All right, we good to go. We good to go. Okay. So that's good. This is good. All right. Okay. That right there. Let's get it, y'all. Let's get into it. Prize that's showing. Welcome back to another episode of Etcetera State of Mind Podcast. It's your host, Denzel. Let's get into it. Today, the subject is change what's inside. Change what's inside. That's the subject today. Okay. We're gonna get right into it, man. I didn't know what to talk about. That's almost like always. Because I wanted to be raw and unfiltered, you know. So I remember I saved some videos. It's like, oh, I can make that into a podcast. Like I'll be saving those videos for times like these. So I went back to some videos I watched and I was like, oh, this is perfect. So this is something that a lot of my podcasts, all of my podcasts are always directed at me. I point all my fingers at me first, right? There are anything I talk about is things that I working on, overcame, or is trying to overcome, okay? And what we're talking about today is definitely something that I'm working on. And I feel like this is something that I'm always going to be working on because, you know, we can't be perfect, but we can strive for perfection, right? I feel like striving for perfection is a beautiful thing if you do it in the right way, put it that way. With that said, change what's inside. And this is what got me to thinking about this. And it's something that I think before, but I always try to talk about things in my podcast that make you think about you and your everyday, or us, should I say, in our everyday decisions and our everyday walk of life to be better beings on this earth, right? Not just to other people, but to ourselves, and not just to ourselves, but to others, whether we know them or not, right? Anyway, with that said, what got me to thinking about this was I was watching a video. It was an older video, and it's so simple, but it made so much sense. And this guy was talking about, and you probably seen it on TikTok or one of the other social media platforms, but the guy was talking about how if you get an orange and you squeeze that orange, I mean, you squeeze it with everything you got, you can find the strongest person in the world and you can get them to squeeze that orange, or you can find the strongest machine in the world and you get them to squeeze that orange with everything that it has or that they have. The only thing that's going to come out of that orange ever is going to be orange juice. The only thing that's going to be coming out of that orange is orange juice. Now take that same metaphor and bring it back to us. When times get hard, when we feel like we're in a tight place, when we feel like the life is being squeezed out of us, right? When somebody who knows us starts to press those buttons, right? When somebody who don't knows us rubs us the wrong way, you know? When somebody says the wrong thing to trigger us, what comes out of us? Whatever comes out of us is what's inside of us. So if somebody rubs you the wrong way or triggers you or presses that button, or some random person says the wrong thing or look at you the wrong way. If anger or hate, something negative is a thing that comes out of us, is because that's what's inside of us. If it's love or compassion, empathy, that's what comes out. That's what's inside of us. And it doesn't mean that anger and hate and those negative energies and those negative things are the only thing that is inside of us. Because we can have anger, hatred, jealousy, and all that stuff inside of us, and we also can have love, compassion, joy, happiness inside of us too. But which one are we feeding more? Which one are we more focused on? Which one do we give more time to? Which one do we give more energy to? Which one about the most? Are we taking the time out of our busy schedules to sit down and think about what's going on with us? Or are we taking the time to sit down and think about God and what he wants from us? You always used to hear people say, and sometimes they still do, what would Jesus do? And we always say that kind of jokingly, or if we say it serious, we always making it this big thing. But God is love. He's peace. He's patient. He's kind. And that's what we should be, because we were created in his image, and God did not create us in a negative light. God did not create us in a negative way. God did not create us. We were not born with hatred in our hearts. We were not born with animosity. We were not born with jealousy. We were not born with anything that is not of God. We were not created with it. That is something that we've been taught through society. That is something that we've been taught through relationships. That is something that bad relationships. That is something that we've been taught from seeing what our parents did or did not do. That is something we've been taught in school. That is something we've been taught, just living our everyday lives, being sneaky, being conniving, being dirty, being jealous, talking about people you don't even know, talking about people behind their back, showing anger before we show love. It's crazy to me, right? I can say something to you that's the truth, and you will get mad and say something nasty to me because I hit something that you already know you need to work on. And I can say it at the right time with the right tone, and you will still get mad at me and upset with me because I'm telling you the truth, right? But that's because that's what's inside of us, right? And I'm speaking to myself. I always tell people this all the time. And I tell it to I promise y'all, I kid you not. When I say I talk to myself, and I've said this on other podcasts before, I talk to myself on purpose, because I would rather me get on to myself before anybody else. And I definitely would rather me get on to myself before God does, because, yeah. Yeah, you know what I mean? If you know, you know. But no, for real though, like, I literally look at myself in the mirror sometimes, or not even just looking at myself, but just talking to myself, and I'll be like, Denzel, what you doing, man? Why you do that? And the beautiful thing about me, and I've been told this all through my years, I'll be 30 this month. I've been told, through these wonderful years that God gave me all through my life, that from men and women, that something that people always notice about me is that I'm quick to forgive, and I'm quick to ask for forgiveness. I'm real quick with that. And I feel like one motivator who motivated me to do that, including my grandmother, was David in the Bible. Like when David made some big mistakes, man. But the one thing that he always did was he knew how to come to the feet of Jesus and be like, sorry, and sincerely mean it. And I try to do that same thing. Anyway, not to get off subject. I'm like I said, this is really a message for me, man, and I hope it touch you guys. But we really have to watch what's inside of us. We really do. And this isn't something new. This has been since the beginning of time, even back in the Bible days. And I'm gonna prove it real quick, and then I'm gonna move on. So I got my handy dandy BIBLE with me. And yeah, I'm gonna get into it. So something that God has really been having on my heart is Matthew. I've been all through Matthew, man, because Matthew, it has so much good juiciness in it. And if you ain't read Matthew, you need to get into it. It's one of those books of the Bibles that I definitely would encourage you to read, especially if you want to increase your faith, if you want to increase your faith in God and what he can do, if you want to see how we shouldn't limit God with our lack of faith and doubt, for so many different reasons. But here, I'm in Matthew chapter 15 right now. We have verse 17. Listen to what it says. I'm gonna read in the Amplified Bible. So Amplified. Actually, I'll read in the New King James version, actually, because most people are used to the King James version. So I'll read in that. So it says, 17. Do you not yet understand that whatever enters the mouth goes into the stomach and is eliminated? But those things which proceed out of the mouth come from the heart. They defile a man. For out of the heart proceeds evil thoughts, murderers, adulterers, fornicators, thieves, false witnesses, blaspheming. These are the things which defiles a man. But to eat with unwashed hands does not defile a man. So let me just read it real quick in the Amplified. I'm only gonna read verse 19. For out of the heart comes evil thoughts, reasonings and disputings and designs, such as murder, adultery, sexual vice, theft, false witnesses, slander, and irrelevant speech. So, I mean, even in the Bible times, man, and that was something Jesus was explaining to the people, because he had said a parable, and you can go read 15, you'll see it. He was explaining a parable, and then they asked him to explain it, and so that's what he said. And it just goes to show, man, like even back then in the Bible days when Jesus was here, man, like that's something that he spoke about. Again, that's Matthew chapter 15, read the whole chapter, but verse 17 through 20, okay? But anyway, it just goes to show, like, what's inside of us is what comes out. It wasn't no mistake. It wasn't because, well, she just had to stoop so low. And it wasn't because he just know how to push my buttons. It wasn't because of none of that. It was because what was inside of you is what came out. And let me, I'm about to give you a good way. And this is something that I've been practicing. I'm about to give you a good way to, and I think I spoke about this before, but I'm about to give you a really good way. So listen up. I'm about to give you a really good way to overcome when somebody's pushing your button, or when somebody say the wrong thing that may trigger you, or whatever the case is. First of all, remember that what I just said, the reason why they're doing that or saying that is because that's what's inside of him. But you can, two wrongs don't make a right. Bad energy and bad energy never works out well. If they use bad energy and you use bad energy, guess what? You both lose. I said it on the podcast before. But if they use bad energy and you use good energy, you win every single time. It may hurt, it may suck, because it is not easy to be a good person at all. It takes work and it takes effort, but it's worth it. It's worth it. Anyway, when somebody's coming at you the wrong way, says the wrong thing, presses your button, triggers you, you know what you come at them with? Empathy, compassion, love, understanding. Okay. And what you need to understand is, or what you should understand is, like I said, that's something that they're dealing with. They're dealing with inside of them, and they trying to not project it on you, but they haven't released whatever it is completely. And that's including me. Like, I have to shake. Like, when I slip up like that, I make sure I come back to that person. I'm like, look, I'm sorry. Not just I'm sorry, but I explain, like, look, you know, like, I'm sorry, I'm working on some things. Like, I shouldn't have done that, and I really mean it. I'm gonna do my best not to do it again. And if I do it again, I'm gonna apologize again once I recognize what I've done. And if you see me lash out like that again, let me know. So I may not like it at the time, but I'm gonna appreciate it because you're helping me check myself, and I ask for it, and that's seriously how I am. But I'm telling you, the best way to come at it, to approach it, is to come with compassion, empathy, love, and kindness. And it's a double-edged sword in a good way, because when you practice compassion, love, and kindness, and being nice and being a good person, guess what? It's easier to do it, because guess what you're doing? You're speaking life, and that life is coming right back to you, and you're filling your heart with life instead of with death. So life is going to proceed out of your mouth instead of death. I talk about it. I talk about how powerful your mouth is, how powerful our words is all the time. That's why I love poetry. That's why I'm so happy. I'm so appreciative that God gave me the creativity of being a poet and so many other things. Speaking of that, I'm getting back on the poetry grind. Shout out to the Poets List. Real quick, shout out to the Poets List, man. They just came out with a new album. Make sure y'all go check that. Make sure y'all follow them on all social media platform at the Poets List. But the founder of the Poets List really has encouraged me to get back into the poetry game. Like, for real. Because poetry is so powerful. It's so powerful, it's in the Bible itself. Psalms is nothing but poetry. Like, and it's a big part of the Bible, you know. But anyway, I don't want to get off track. Shout out to the Poets List one more time. But yeah, y'all, check yourself. Check yourself. This isn't, that doesn't mean that you have to be hard on yourself. Be kind to yourself. And say to yourself, what can I do to fix that? Do I need to create a better routine? Do I need to pray more? Do I need to start creating better, healthier lifestyle changes mentally, physically, and spiritually? Do I need to practice being who I want to be and where I want to be? And I feel like you should be doing that anyway. Everybody should be practicing who they want to be. If you want to be a better person, practice being a better person. Start with your thoughts, with your words, with your actions, in that order. Okay? And when you start to do that, I'm telling you, you fill your heart with life. You fill your heart with love. You fill your heart with the things of God and how he truly created us to be. Because remember, we were not born. If anybody, and I'll stand on this, if anybody tells you was born with anything negative, that's a lie. I stand on it. God did not create us to start off negative. Those negative things are trained and learned. Fear is trained and learned. And fear is not real. It ain't. There could be another podcast. And if you want to debate me on that, well, no, I don't want to say debate. If you want to ask me questions about that, feel free. But there could be another podcast. Fear is not real. It's learned. And most fear that we have is not even our fears, which is crazy, right? Think about it. I guarantee you most fears you have aren't your fears. You have that fear because you heard a story, saw a movie, you know somebody who been through it. But I guarantee you most fears you have, you've never dealt with those fears. Think about it. But yeah, we weren't born with these negative things. Jealousy, anger, none of that. We weren't born with that, man. Okay. Another thing to look out for too, man, you know, gaslighting is like a thing right now, you know, and that's something that I see happen a lot is gaslighting, man. And if you're gaslighting people, that's definitely like, I mean, like this whole thing is, this whole podcast is right now. That's something that's inside of you, man. Like gaslighting is petty, it's childish, and it's immature, honestly. And if you're an adult and you're gaslighting people, be prepared for the consequences, man. Because that right there, like, I know how that feels because I have that done to me and it's not a good feeling, you know? And when I see it, I try to like tell whoever is doing it like about it, because sometimes I really believe sometimes people gaslight people, and not just gaslight, but I think sometimes people are like rude, mean, distasteful, and all these other things. And they're not doing it on purpose. And I'm talking about myself too. And that's why I'll tell anybody who knows me and anybody who's around me regularly or talks to me regularly, if I do something to you that is not cool or made you upset or made you sad or whatever, like let me know, because I may not even realize that I'm doing it because I've been doing it so long. And now I'm quote unquote numb to it or tone deaf to it because I've been doing it for so long. I don't even realize that I'm doing it. And that's a real thing, like seriously, like, so that's another thing too. Watch your circle, man, because just like you are what you eat, you also are you are who you hang around. Watch your circle, change your circle, like prune your circle. Get rid of some people you need to get rid of. Let go of some people you need to let go of, and do it for real, not halfway with a chain on so you can yank them back whenever you get ready, right? But now for real, like watch who you're around, because who you're around affects who you are too, right? Because if you're around a bunch of people that's speaking negative and thinking negative, man, it's gonna rub off eventually. And I know this for a fact. I remember one time I had this job and there was so much negativity at the job. But before I came to the job, I was happy-go-lucky and love and compassion and all of that. Next thing you know, I found myself complaining and nagging just all the time, just nagging and complaining and nagging and complaining and that. But it's because everybody at that job was nagging and complaining. And I spent so much time at that job, I just found myself nagging. It just became a natural thing. As soon as I got there, let's find something to complain about. Right? Let's find something to nag about. Let's find something to want. And I found myself doing it, and I do not like doing that. But I found myself doing it because I was around that crowd, right? Man. So watch who you're around, man. Even if it's at work, like to make sure you give yourself a break from people and decompress. And the greatest way to decompress, especially if you believe in God or a higher power, whatever you believe in, go to that. Your mind. This is something that I'm learning and that I've learned. Your mind is always searching for a higher power. It's always searching for a higher power. We muffle it and cover it with material things, but your mind is always searching for a higher power. I'm not gonna talk about that too much because I need to do more digging. God needs to work on me with that, because that's gonna take me to another level mentally. But anyway, yeah, y'all, we produce whatever is inside of us. God talks about it all the time when he talks about us bearing fruit. Whatever fruit we bear is based on what's inside of us. You put a apple seed in the ground. It's going to produce an apple tree. And that's what any other seed. You put a watermelon seed in the ground, it's going to produce a watermelon. Right? And the same thing with us. What do we have in us? Where can we make changes? That's the beautiful thing, right? We're not like these seeds, and we're not like the orange, right? When you squeeze the orange, only orange juice come out, right? The beautiful thing about us is, first of all, as long as we are alive, we have time and opportunity. The other thing is we can change who we are, what we are, and what's inside of us at any time, any place. Like, we don't have to be a certain place or a certain time. So don't think, oh, well, I'm gonna work on that. No, start today. Start right now after this podcast. Start today. Work on it. Pray about it today. Like, seriously, start today. Whatever it is, start today. And start working on that thing that you've been shying away from. That thing that you know that you want to change. And I'm really speaking to myself right now. But that thing you know that you want to change, and it's like, man, like, I'm doing so good, but I just need to, it's just this thing, man. It's just this thing that's just, it's like, ugh. And what it really is your flesh want to hold on to that, and your spiritual being wants to release it. And that's why it's so important for us to feed our spiritual being, right? So start speaking positive and life about your situation and whatever you want to change. You know, instead of saying, oh, I just can't, you know, instead of having those thoughts, change your thought process and your speech. And say, you know what? Today, I'm going to focus on today. And that's what we should be doing anyway. We should be focused on today, because tomorrow has its own cares and things going on. And tomorrow isn't even here. Today is. Focus on today, man. Your life can change just like that. Your life can change just like that, man. Focus on today. Okay? Focus on today, man. And make that change. We can do this. We can be better together. Okay? I really recommend taking the time as soon as possible to sit down in a quiet place, or if you have some music, put some music with no words that's real mellow. Look up some lo-fi music. Put some music that's real mellow, or no music at all. Put some rain sounds on, waterfall, ocean, whatever. Just sit and breathe and just think about you and what's inside of you, what's inside of us. And then think about what we can change. And then after that, because we don't want to leave it ended on a negative note, right? I don't want you to bash yourself and, dang, man, I'm this and I'm that and I'm this. Yeah, you are this and that and this, but you're a bunch of good things too. So when you go and you dig deep for real, and you be real with yourself in that moment where you're thinking about things that you can change, that you could be better in, whether it's you know, changing the way you speak and your tone, and your practicing having a better attitude, and practicing to respond to negative things with a more positive way. When you go and you think about those things you could change, I also want you to think about who you already are. Those good things you already are. Those good things that you already have. Those good qualities that you already have. Yeah, you might have some hatred in you, but guess what? You got some love too. Yeah, you might have some doubt in you, but guess what? You have some faith too. Yeah, you might not be the best person at knowing how to express your feelings, but guess what? You do know ways to express yourself, you know? So build on those things that you already have. That's the key to drowning out those negative habits, is building on the positive habits and the positive areas that you already have. Build on those things and make those stronger and better and bigger than all that negative energy. Okay. And remember, God, it's bigger than all of that. All of your worries, all of the things that you feel like you can't overcome, God is bigger than all of that. And even if you feel like, man, God ain't been talking to me lately, man, I ain't been hearing from him lately. I've been praying, but I ain't been seeing it. That's what the devil wants you to think, man. God right there. Just be patient. That's key to growing with God. It's patience. God wants your faith. He wants your love. He wants your patience. And if you don't believe me, get in that Bible, go to Matthew, start at chapter 1. If you want to start at a real good chapter, skip forward to chapter 5. Start at chapter 5 and just read. Ooh, and look. Start at chapter 5, read chapter 5, 6, 7, and 8. Ooh, French kiss. I'm telling you, do it. But yeah, man, I'm not even gonna make this one too long, man. We at that 30-minute mark. I'm gonna end it right here, y'all. Look, change what's inside, y'all. Look, it's a one-day thing, one day at a time. But look, start today. Right after this podcast, start today. And share this podcast with somebody, man. With somebody else you think will be beneficial for. Something that I'm praying for, just to be real with y'all. Something that I'm praying for is I want God to send people to naturally draw and attract people who want the content that I'm pushing out, whether it be through my workout, through my poetry, through my podcast. I want God to just naturally draw people, and I know he'll do it, man. So look, share this with somebody you think will be, this will be beneficial to. I really appreciate y'all. Again, this is Denzel with Etcetera State of Mind Podcast. As always, man, I really appreciate y'all. Look, I'm doing this on YouTube right now, but this is going to be on all podcast platforms. So Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, the main one, Spotify. Go check it out on Spotify. Check it out, man. I just really appreciate you guys who came through. I appreciate the ones who come in it. Believe me, I see you. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate the love. Keep coming through. And as always, man, y'all have a wonderful, beautiful, abundant and blessed day, night, whatever time it is. And until next time, I'm out. Holla.